Example of using the word is, I would not live in London for all the golds in the goldsmith shops, for all the treasures in King Edward's vaults. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day, God. Whenever any speaker on the stage uses the word of the day in the right context, I would request the audience to show a silent thumbs up sign as a mark of appreciation. I will give a word of the day report and grammatical users report when called upon by the general evaluator at the end of the meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ritik. Our timer is Toastmaster Sachin. I would request Sachin to tell us about if he has attended any festival of different region, followed by your role to the attendees, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Anurag. Yeah, so basically my favorite one is Diwali, and I think it's celebrated throughout the regions. But as a Mumbaiker, right, I get a chance to celebrate different festivals there. And I really like the logic behind the festivals, like that is a scientific one, which helps people not only on the health benefits, also as a psychological one. So that brings people from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light. So that is what I can say at this moment. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and visitors and guests for the day. My role is timer to ensure that to record the time of all speakers and ensure that every speaker uses the allotted time slot. This will help us to ensure that meeting runs within scheduled time. And as it is a Sunday, you should be able to enjoy your delicious lunch right after this meeting on time. So to help me do this right, I will play a role of traffic control officer, though really I'm not the one. As you can see at my background, I have a traffic management system, wherein I will raise a green signal whenever speaker reaches the qualified time. I will raise a yellow signal whenever speaker hits the targeted time. I will raise a red signal whenever speaker reach at the end of their allotted time. For example, for prepared speeches, generally we have 5 to 7 minutes. I will raise a green signal on 5 minutes, yellow signal on 6 minutes, and red signal on 7 minutes. There is a 30-second grace period on either side of the time for prepared speakers. Evaluators or evaluations generally be allotted 2 to 3 minutes. I will raise a green signal at 2 minutes, yellow signal at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and red signal at 3 minutes. They also get 30-second grace period at either side of the time. Table topic speaker generally get 1 to 2 minutes. I will raise a green signal at 1 minute, yellow signal at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red signal at 2 minutes. Table topic speaker generally get 30 seconds grace period at the upper side of their allotted time. With that, I will present my report called upon by the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin.
Vote.
Okay, our next role player or our counter is Toastmaster Engelbert. What is your favorite festival and what do you do in one-liner, please, and followed by your role to the attendees?
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Anurag, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guest. The favorite festival obviously will be Christmas for me, and the main reason is all delicious sweets and food is there the entire month. So that's always I'm waiting for 11 months for that 12th month to end on a good note. My role as a counter is to record unnecessary sounds, words, both by the speakers as well as by the role bearers. They include the clutch words, filler phrases, and extreme long pauses. So I'm sure we all are aware that these clutch words or the filler words reduce the quality of the speech as well as it can be annoying to the listener at the same time. So my job is to help the speaker. One is to record to make him aware so that next time he will improve in his speeches. So I'll present the R counter report when it is called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Engelbert. Going with the theme of this session, India is such a wonderful country and full of variety of cultures. And trust me, the greatness of culture can be found in its festival, as Engelbert also mentioned. It starts from Eid, Rakhi, Onam, Janmashtami, Durga Puja, and list can go on and on till end of the year with Christmas and New Year celebrations. Try visiting Kolkata in Durga Puja. I happened to be in Kolkata once, and trust me, the entire city changes. Everyone comes on the road, kids, teenager, even people like me, and enjoy the spirit of puja. It's an amazing experience. Have you ever been to Kerala in monsoon to be part of snake boat race? Kerala comes alive with colorful snake boat race. It's a traditional war boat of Kerala. Typical snake boats are 100 to 120 feet long and hold up to 100 rowers, and the competition gets serious with war cries and some beautiful folk songs. The boats, surroundings, and people cheering. What energy and color to soak in and enjoy. Okay, now we'll start the first part of the meeting. We will now begin the prepared speeches segment. In this segment, our members will present prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Toastmaster Deep and his evaluator is Toastmaster Nivedita. May I request you to please read the project objectives, please?
Very good morning to everyone. When there is a knowledge and there is the ability to explain, it's called teacher. And when you add your communication skills, you will be an authority. Why I'm saying so, this I learned from Toastmasters. So on this auspicious day of Teachers Day, I would like to thank entire Toastmasters team, especially Babu and Sudha, who helped me to the way I speak, the way I talk, and the way I deliver my speech. So thanks a lot to entire Toastmaster fraternity, I can say, on this day. And with this, I would like to start on this for the first speech. Today, the first speaker is giving the second speech of level 1 from dynamic leadership skills, and the objective of the purpose of the project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive a feedback, and apply that feedback to the second speech. And also the purpose is to present a speech and receive a feedback from the evaluator. So please note, speaker, what feedback I'll give, you will use that feedback and you will give your next speech. So timer, please note the time, 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, speaker. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nivedita. It is my pleasure to introduce our Toastmaster Deep. His speech title is Dynamic Leadership. Let's welcome Toastmaster Deep. Speaker Toastmaster Deep, Dynamic Leadership, Toastmaster Deep. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Anurag. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, it is said being a leader is someone that everyone wants to do, but taking the responsibilities of the leader is not what everyone would like to do. Just last year, as per Statista.com, a website that keeps track of all the government statistics, it said that when the COVID lockdown happened in March 2020, the unemployment rate in India had tripled from 8.75% in March 2020 to 23.52% in April 2020, within a span of 1 month. And mind you, this is just taking into consideration the number of people who are working. Additionally, in the same month, 3.7 million students graduated in 2020 as per the NCES website, a website owned by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. So does this mean that this is the end? For a lot of us, we were facing in tough times, and these were desperate times. But the interesting fact is, just by Statista.com, the unemployment rate fell back to 10% just 1 month later. What happened? The lockdown certainly did not go away. The young leaders of India, what really they did is they started to go for startups. And this is what I would like to label as dynamic leadership. If you look, startups are the key to any successful economy in the world. Now, according to the Small Business Administration in the United States of America, there are 5 different ways startups can help grow an economy even further. And in India, over the last pandemic, startups have boomed in the organized as well as the unorganized sector. If you look at your phones, Zomato.com, the number of Zomato vendors has multiplied 5 times in 1 year of COVID as per Zomato.com partnerships. In my street alone, the Zomato partners went from 3 2 years ago to 17 today. Now, this is the unorganized sector. Coming to the organized sector, the number of tech startups in India, as per medium.com, was 800, a jump of 2 from the last year. And it's not that people have just decided that, okay, I'm going to go for a startup. 13 startups out of those 800 achieved unicorn status. What does it mean to achieve unicorn status? Did they grow a horn on their head? No. What they did is they got $1 billion valuation. So just think of this for a second. When the entire world was going through so desperate times, they were struggling. There were 13 Indian leaders who became billionaires. Now, the 5 ways of how startups can help an economy as per the Small Business Administration in the United States. First, the average rate at which startups increase the number of jobs in a country is 25%. That means year on year, on an average, every startup adds 25% of members to its workforce. Number 1. Number 2, they change the local landscape. Do you know why Tata Nagar is called Tata Nagar? Do you know what California was before Google? Do you know what Redmond County was before Yahoo? Do you know what Silicon Valley was before the .com bubble? These tech industries that come in, they completely change. They bring in more graduates and completely change the landscape around that area. Number 3, startups are proven to be free from corporate bureaucracy. Just take a simple example. The definition of a startup means the resources that a startup has is very, very limited. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, all of them were once in a garage fighting IBM, which was a big multinational giant. Today, even they are big multinational giants. They cannot have achieved this without innovation at the heart of everything that they do. Number 4, they bring in a lot of jobs. Now, yes, they do add jobs, but if you compare a corporate bureaucracy versus a startup looks for talent and keeps on nurturing them. It is said in corporates, the churn rate or the rate at which employees are removed and added once again on an average is 40%. Just a simple example. When General Electric, the biggest conglomerate in the world, went from $500 million in valuation to $3.7 billion, the number of employees working in General Electric went down from 700,000 to 550,000. That is called right sizing for those of you. And lastly, startups help bring new technologies to the world. Do you know online shopping did not exist before Google came in? Did you know what a touchscreen phone was before Apple came in? They create new industries that were unimaginable to people. Even motor cars were considered to be a luxury before Ford decided to make it an amenity for everyone. Now that all of you are inspired, you might be wondering, yes, startup is very good. And even I would like to do a startup, but I have my family, I have other commitments, and I simply do not have the time. Fellow Toastmasters, all of you are Toastmasters. Why don't you take Toastmasters as your starter? Just as a challenge, you can try adding 3 new members to your own club in the next 1 month. If you think you can do it, fair enough. But if you think you need some help, you can take another month. Once you are able to add 3 new members to your own club, a next challenge for you is start your own club with 20 new members as a challenge and treat it as a starter. This will be a very good exercise for you to make sure you learn all the skills required to go for a startup. Thank you so much and all the best to all of you on your journey to dynamic leadership. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Anurag Sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deep, for wonderful insight. I now request everyone to submit their feedback for the speaker in private chat box. And 30 seconds for that, please. Okay. Let's start. Let's move on to the move on to our next speaker, speaker 2. It is our second speaker is Toastmaster Sudha, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Sai. May I request you to please read the project objectives, Toastmaster Sai?
As far as public speaking goes, the question becomes, I have content, but is my content easy to read? Is it difficult to read? How do I communicate with people? Do I use simple words, or does my speech and delivery consist of a lot of verbal God? That is the question in front of our second speaker of the day, Toastmaster Sudha Warrior. Her project objectives is for her to understand different styles of communication. And in this speech, she will be explaining to us whether her communication style impacts other people, and if it does, how it impacts those people. This speech, for the benefit of the timer, is from 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Sudha, good luck with your speech, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sai. It is my pleasure to introduce Toastmaster Sudha. Her speech title is Communication, a Barrier or Connector. Let's welcome Toastmaster Sudha. Speaker, Toastmaster Sudha. Communication, a barrier or connector. A barrier or connector, Toastmaster Sudha. Over to you.
Just before I start, it is barrier or connector. Yeah, no worries. Thank you. I can start. I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, you are.
Communication works for those who work at it. The art of communication is the language of leadership. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has actually taken place, said George Bernard Shaw. As humans, we rely a lot on verbal and non-verbal communication to connect with other people. But the way we learn how to communicate comes from several different arenas in our lives. And probably the most impactful are the relationships we learn from at home when we are little. Think of it this way, while we are learning how to speak, you are also learning the rules and norms of the world you're a part of. It varies, am I right? We come from different surroundings. We all learn to do this human stuff, life stuff differently. This is probably one of the reasons we often find ourselves not quite understanding why the people in our lives do what they do and sometimes annoy us. Because we learn so much about communication even before we start speaking, it makes sense that this becomes the realm of improvement with which very many people identify. Enough has been written about communication in various stages of life. It's been beaten to death, I'm sure. Good communication skills require a high level of awareness. That's what I feel. Once you understand your own communication style, it's much easier to identify any shortcomings or areas which can be improved on. It's like a guard on our effective speaking. Having a deeper understanding of this subject will help us understand people and their behavior and ascertain the outcome of the communication styles on their life and maybe make some amends in ours as well. Remember, the first rule of effective communication is the success of it is the responsibility only of the communicator. Don't blame anybody else. So the first communication style is the aggressive one. We must have seen it in our lives. Our bosses, our mothers, our very close friends, even our siblings. It's all about winning, often at someone else's expense. An aggressive person behaves as if their needs are the most important. It's fine if it's a mother or a teacher, but they have to also learn to contribute a little bit equally as they are amongst other people. It is an ineffective communication style as the content of the message gets lost in the way it's delivered. So the non-verbal cues are posture is bigger than ours, sharp, jerky, facial expressions, scowl, glare, and, words like it's my way or the highway, do it my way, you're crazy, I don't care what you say. These are all the expressions which comes out of aggressive people. The next one is the passive aggressive style. Now, this is a style which people appear very passive on the surface, but are acting out their anger in indirect or behind the scenes, It sounds like prisoners of war. Now, prisoners of war act in a passive aggressive ways in order to deal with the overwhelming lack of power. People who behave in this manner usually feel powerless and resentful and express their feelings with a lot of resentment. The expression like cut off your nose to spite your face is a perfect description of a passive aggressive behavior. The language, why don't you go ahead and do it? My ideas aren't very good anyway. But maybe with a little sting of irony, they say, you always know better in any case. Oh, don't you worry about me. I can sort out myself like I usually do. These are typical expressions from passive aggressive people. Voice speaks in a very sugary, sweet voice, and it can be jerky sometimes when the resentment becomes bigger than the sweetness. They have a lot of sarcasm, pretending to be cooperative while subconsciously they are doing tasks incorrectly. There is an emotional withdrawal as well, and also leads to gossip and talking behind people's back. The submissive style. This style is about pleasing other people and avoiding conflict. The person who we don't know, there's an elephant in the room. We are having him there quiet, but we don't know what to make out of him. He behaves as a person where all other people's needs are important and other people have more rights than myself. Oh, it's like saying, oh, it's nothing really. Oh, that's all right. I didn't want it anymore. You choose, anything is fine, and a refusal to try out initiatives. The other one is the manipulative style. I'm sure we are all familiar with that too. Politicians, for sure. This style is scheming, calculating, and shrewd. They are skilled at influencing or controlling others to their advantage. Their spoken words hide an underlying message of which the other person may be totally unaware. Language, you're so lucky to have chocolates. I wish I had some. I cannot afford such an expensive chocolates. I didn't have time to buy anything, so I had to wear this dress. I just hope I don't look awful in it. Fishing for a compliment. Now, this is what manipulative style does. So, what is the best and most appreciated communication style? Assertive. The assertive communication is born out of self-esteem. It's the healthiest, most effective style of communication, the sweet spot between being too aggressive and too passive. Being assertive means respecting yourself and other people. It's the ability to clearly express your thoughts and feelings through open, honest, and direct communication. It's a skill not reserved for the new. Anyone can do it, but it takes time and practice because you have to keep your interests as well as other people's interests and avoid conflict as much as possible. Friends, communication is a skill that we all learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. With this message, I wish you all the best in communication in your life. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sudha. I was evaluating myself, which category I fall into. My wife says I am a passive aggressive. I don't know why. Anyways, I now request everyone to submit their feedback for the speaker, Toastmaster Sudha, in private chat box. 30 seconds for that, please. Okay, I would now request timer Toastmaster Sachin to provide the timing report for prepaid speakers.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. So fellow Toastmaster and guest, Toastmaster Deep took 7 minutes, 21 seconds and 35 milliseconds. And his speech is eligible for voting. Toastmaster Sudha took 7 minutes, 24 seconds and 92 milliseconds. And her speech is also eligible for voting. That's all from me. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deep. Another festival close to our heart is Holi. Festival of colors. Holi is the most exuberant and colorful festival of India that symbolizes the arrival of spring. It is truly a festival of joy, fun, and frolic, where people of all ages lose their inhibitions to play with color. While the entire country celebrates this joyous festival with color and water, there is a place in Uttar Pradesh that celebrates with batons or lathis. Classic example of women empowerment. So it's in a place where women literally beats men with lathis. The place is called Barsana, situated at a distance of 50 kilometers northwest of Mathura. Christmas is another festival which brings the joy of celebrations alive after Diwali. And the winters, when you are preparing to say goodbye to a whole year. You start with these festivities and ends with the New Year party and celebrations. If one walks down around in Mumbai street in Bandra, you can see the serene decoration with Christmas trees and carols and group of choirs singing going around the streets. Santa Claus to excite the children about the magic of gifts, sweets, and jingles. With this, the second part of the meeting, we are now entering table topic segment. We are going to practice impromptu speech style. It is going to be run by our table topic master, Joy De Silva. Please join me welcoming our table topic master, Joy De Silva. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anurag, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters. All right, so before we get started with the table topics, just a little bit of history. So today happens to be the birth anniversary of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, and he was the former vice president, the first vice president of India, and also eventually became the president. And his birth anniversary is what marks and is actually celebrated as Teachers' Day. So while he was the vice president and eventually became president, he was first and foremost an educator, a scholar, and an academic professor. Okay, so that's about the history. I was reading the paper today, and Narayan Murthy happened to mention that any nation, right, is only as strong as its culture, and teachers have a big role to play in shaping that culture, right? And if we are whatever we are today, I'm sure most of us would love to go ahead and credit our teachers not just from our schools, but also from, because they all come in different shapes and sizes. We all have teachers right here in this club as well. Babu sir has been a teacher. Sudha has been a teacher. So how about this? I have a whole lot of questions based on teachers, but like I said, they're not restricted to our teachers just from school. I would like you to go ahead and share your experiences about your favorite teachers, all those memories that come back to mind when you think about the biggest lessons that has influenced your life. Okay, now, before we do that, I'd request the timer to go ahead and please share the objectives, the timer objectives for this round, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. So for table topic speaker, generally they get 1 to 2 minutes for speaking, and there is a grace period of 30 seconds on higher side of the time. So you are literally eligible for 2 minutes, 30 seconds to speak. If you are speaking within that limit, you will be eligible for voting. Over to you, Toastmaster Joy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sachin. And now for volunteers who'd like to go ahead and volunteer for the table topics, please. Can I see a show of hands? Who wants to go first?
I think everybody is doing a role, so it doesn't matter. Everybody can participate, irrespective of playing a role. So we can change the Toastmaster rule a little bit.
The only people who cannot participate today are the ones who've never been to school or who've never learned a lesson, okay? So I see your hand, Toastmaster Sai, so let's go ahead and start with you, okay? And since you are an evaluator, I'm going to give you a slightly complicated question, okay? I'm sure you're game. All right, let's say you're called back to your school, and you are the chief guest at that school. Now you're called on the occasion of Teachers' Day, and you're called on stage to go and say a few words. Give us that speech that you will make at your school on Teachers' Day.
I'd be happy to, Toastmaster Joy. Brevity is the soul of wit, they say, but I'm going to say brevity is also the soul of efficient communication. So my message to my students at school will be, I'm going to go on stage, I'm going to have a microphone in front of me, I'm going to turn off the microphone, I'm going to step back and take a couple of steps back and start doing jumping jacks. Like that. Now, you're probably wondering why I do jumping jacks. It's because I feel that, if your body is fit, if you're able to move quickly, if your back is not hurting, if everything's efficient about the way your body operates, your mind sort of follows that. And in fact, there's a great example of this exact concept in Indian history. People who conceived, say, Hindu thinking, and they conceived everything that, not everything, but a lot of the prehistory of India comes from people sitting in a cave and meditating. And they, after a couple of days of meditation, they started hurting. My back hurts, man. This stuff, sitting in one spot hurts. So what they started doing is they started inventing all these different poses, these different exercises, just to make themselves stronger, so that they could sit and meditate for longer. And that evolved into what is called yoga. Okay, so which is very living proof that the mind follows the body. And that's the lesson I would like my students, not my students, they'd be students following me in my high school or wherever, whichever educational institution has the idiocy or the lack of other options to invite me. That's what I would tell them. Go focus on your body when you're a kid, because that's the one that's going to give you dividends when you're older. Back to you, to Toastmaster Joy, and I hope to see you doing jumping jacks before you start your next table topic.
Okay, maybe eventually I will, but thank you so much for that speech. And it was a pretty lovely message to be coming up on the spot with that message. Mind follows the body. That's a lesson I'm sure all of us can retain too. All right, let's move on. I want to see more hands, please. Who's willing to go up next? Okay, I'm gonna have to pick and choose, guys, since you're being so proactive. All right, let's have Engelbert.
Yes, Toastmaster.
You didn't see this coming, did you?
No, I never, I never guessed in the wildest dream also.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to fit in the word of the day, Toastmaster Engelbert. I'm saying I'm trying to fit in the word of the day.
Okay.
Okay, in my next question. So, we've all had these teachers who used to go ahead and be a little distinct from all the others. One of my teachers, she used to love to dress up. And one of her distinct identities was, this big red bindi that she used to have on her small little forehead, that was like, the bindi was like 4x the size. Did you have a teacher who was known for her gauds? Any ornaments or trinkets or anything distinct about her?
Okay. Yes. The first person who I recall is a teacher, an English teacher itself. She had a necklace which was, it was beads, and it was always a center of attraction. Why? Because it was every day she would match with her sari, with her earrings, and with all her accessories. And I'm sure she would not only love to dress well, but she would also love her students to dress neatly. And also the English, what she used to teach, she was very particular in not only the way she would speak, but also her students would react. She would give immediate feedback. And today, while I'm in Toastmasters trying to improve my communication skills, I definitely would like to remember her and pray for her this day. Thank you.
Okay, that was sweet. I'm sure she would have loved it. Toastmaster Engelbert, thank you. All right, Toastmaster Sudha, did I see you raise your hand while I picked on Engelbert? Would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, I don't mind. Maybe you can give a chance to the first timers first. I mean, the people who are hosting it as well. If they don't want, then I can go ahead.
Okay, so you're next.
Questions.
All right, so here comes the question. I will soon go ahead and ask them questions as well.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sure you've had a chance to be a teacher yourself in your corporate career, and of course, among all the extracurricular activities that you do, Toastmaster Sudha. So my question to you is, if you were Dronacharya, who was your Arjuna and why?
Wow. Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. There are a lot of similarities to the question that you just asked me just now, Joy. First is the Teacher's Day, and today is also my birthday. And also the fact that I have always associated teaching to be very close to my heart. Education is something that I love. I don't know whether it's got something to do with my birthday, but I love education, and that's going to be my second career, and that's what I'm building up myself to be. And as far as Arjuna is concerned, I have a son whose name is also Arjun. So that's another thing which actually resonates with my life as well. And I was inspired by the character Arjun, and that's why I kept my son's name also Arjun. Now, if you really want to compare who's been the best Arjuna in my life, I think it's a very, very difficult question. And I don't think teachers should ever be required to answer that question, because I feel that every teacher should see Arjuna in every child. That's the way I look at it. And I personally feel that Arjuna is a quality which every teacher should have in terms of his dedication, is the sincerity, the grit, the hard work, perseverance. All these qualities which a student should have should be the qualities which a teacher like Dronacharya would probably look in a child. But I have one thing against the epics and the mythology story as to how can such a great teacher go to create hurt for another good student, which is Ekalavya. So that's another story which we can come to, and let's all make a vow that we don't become such teachers and we don't make distinction amongst any student. Thank you. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sudha. A very happy birthday to you. Maybe going forward, we can mark this day as Teacher's Day because it's your birthday. All right, and thank you for the lesson. Yeah, that happens. You spoke like a true teacher when you said that you can't really have favorites in your students. They should all equally matter to you. So that was a good lesson for all of us. Moving on. Let's have. Anybody else eager to go ahead and participate right now? Or, oh, I see a hand. Sumit Gupta, over to you. Okay. Sumit Gupta, can you tell us about a parent-teacher experience that you remember from your school days?
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy, for giving this opportunity. Well, it is a very good question for me. Like, I was not that kind of studious person in my school. And I still remember in the 9th standard, when the exams used to happen, the teacher used to give us less marks in 9th standard, because if the student get a less marks in 9th standard, they will try harder to get more marks in 10th standard. So that is a motive behind them to give less marks in the 9th standard. So I still remember the day on in the month of December, there was a parent meeting where I got in the subject of maths, I got just a passing marks, and there was a meeting with the parent teacher meeting, and that remember me still the day, like when my parents went there and they interact with the teacher and saw that, oh my God, my son got only just a passing marks. I don't know how he got this in the maths, because his maths is so good, and how he just passed. So that day teacher had a communication with my parent in separate, not in front of me, and she told my dad, like, it is not we are expecting to our children to be good at this point of time, because we are deducting marks as far as we go. And later on, I was so much disturbed, like how I got this. And the end of the day, my dad told me, this kind of word I had with your teacher. So this was my parent-teacher meet, and this was my experience overall. Thank you so much, Toastmaster.
Quite interesting that Toastmaster Sumit Gupta. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. All right, moving on. Let me also go ahead and ask. Okay, Toastmaster Ritik, I see your hand.
Yeah.
So Toastmaster Ritik, you are still pretty young, and if at all you were given a chance to be a teacher yourself, right? If you could choose your profession and you had to become a teacher yourself, which teacher would you be most influenced by in terms of the style and delivery in your new profession?
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Joy. So, like, I'll be a strict teacher for me, and I also try to give a lot of opportunities to me, and I'll try to see like how do I perform there. So that's sort of a teacher I want to be, and apart from that, I would like to put myself in a trouble situations. How will you behave there? So that's the one thing I would love to be. Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Joy.
So you still have some time, Toastmaster Ritik. Would you like to tell us why you want to be strict?
Because I'm a bit lazy. If my teacher is not strict, then like my results will come down, and they won't be that good. So I feel like for me, there should be a strict teacher, even though I am a consistent, disciplined, but there is a need of a teacher. And that should be a strict one, not a very sort of a chill one, you know. So that one thing I feel about me.
Wow, thank you, Toastmaster Ritik. This actually reminds me of one of my favorite movies. It's called Whiplash. And Whiplash had a coach, actually a teacher who is a conductor, a musical conductor, and he's actually teaching music to a lot of students. And he is one of those strict teachers, okay? He is so strict, he's like a sadist, right? And this student, a teenager who's actually learning drums, happens to hate him through most of the movie. They complain and they get rid of him. And it's only towards the end of the movie is when he's actually talking to this teacher to understand his perspective, understand his purpose of being so strict and behaving like a sadist. And this teacher says, the two most dangerous words in the English language is good job. Good job. It just comes so automatically that we keep telling everyone, even if they've done a very mediocre job, we keep telling them it's a good job. And it kind of protects them and it brings a false sense of satisfaction thinking they've actually done a good job. Yeah, so thank you. I think that's a pretty good reminder. Being strict is not all that bad. Great. One final question in the Toastmasters table topics round. Anyone would like to go up for that? Okay, Toastmaster Anurag, I see your hand. And okay, your question is, Toastmaster Anurag, if you were given the opportunity to go ahead and change the education system, change or alter, modify, whatever you want to do, the education system in India, what would you do?
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. What would I change, if at all, given a chance to me in Indian education system? I personally feel in India education system, we are still making our students, right, from the kindergarten till the higher secondary, higher school. It's all about content, education, and everything theory. I have not seen personally. I also have not seen, and I don't see nowadays in the school. They are not in our school. They are not making our student take up their hobby or sports, basically sports or other activities to learn, because of which students are facing challenges. I face challenges. Just to give an example, the financial planning, the financial management, which is very important for each and every individual, which we never taught in our school. If I had been, if I had a chance to learn about financial management, I would have done a very good financial management after passing out of the school or when I started my career, started making money. So that is one thing which I really want, saving tax. How can I save tax, after spending or whatever money I have left out, whether shall I keep that money in my bank or invest somewhere? That is one piece. The sports, the extracurricular activities, schools are not pushing or encouraging students to take up their sports and invest their time, effort in, rather than putting time in education, which is equally important, but in the education sports sectors also. That's why we have very less of sportsmen who are getting medals, gold or silver or bronze, whatever medals we are getting. It's very less number of medals what we have compared to other countries like Russia, China, US. They start teaching this kind of activity, extracurricular activity, right from the kindergarten. That's what I want to change, if at all given a chance. Over to you, Toastmasters Joy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anurag, for sharing that. I think, yeah, we all, have a similar kind of, hope for the education system in India and trying to change and provide a more well-rounded education for all of our children. So the next time, there is Olympics, we don't have to feel embarrassed about not winning enough medals. Okay, I know I said it'll be the last question, but I realized that we didn't really, think about any of the teachers from our corporate scene. So would anyone like to go ahead and take one last question? One last question. I want to know about your teachers from your corporate life. Toastmaster Nivedita, I see your hand. Would you like to go ahead and share that, please? So your lesson from your corporate life and which teacher was responsible for that?
Yeah, the teacher from my corporate life is my vice president from my first company, which is Sun Pharma. Though he was from sales, and he has a very good ability to explain and lead by example. It's not that just he was trying to tell us, he was trying to tell us everything in the form of a story, and he will do it. He will ask us what difficulties you are facing. So I felt the way he guided us, the way he led himself by an example, which was commendable. So it's almost more than 12, 13 years he retired, but we are still in touch, and I'm still getting mentoring from him. And I'm blessed that I have a mentor in the corporate sector. Many marketing lessons I have learned from him, and I honestly want to continue what I learned from him, so that I will able to learn, pass on that learning to my juniors in the days to come. Thanks, and over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nivedita. Yes, that was indeed a very useful lesson. Leading by example, I think that's the best way to actually go ahead and teach. Also, I'd like to go ahead and share one of the first lessons I learned in the corporate scenario. Okay, it was one of my bosses telling me, Joe, if you really want to go in this particular scene, the one thing that you must do is find the smartest person in the room and go stand next to that person. I thought, wow, that's a pretty useful tip. Yeah, and something easy, right? Anyone can do it. I'm still looking for that boss. He eventually happened to quit because what he told me is just half the story. Find the smartest person in the room and go stand next to that person. What he did not tell me is that smartest person does not want to stand next to me. So how do I get him to stand next to me? They eventually move away. So thank you so much for participating in this round. It was indeed awesome to hear your experiences. And I'd like to go ahead and ask Toastmaster Sachin to kindly share the timer report, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. So our first table topic speaker, Toastmaster Sai, took 1 minute 34 seconds, and he is eligible for the vote. Second table topic speaker, Toastmaster Engelbert, unfortunately not make to the 1 minute. He just happened to speak for 47 seconds. Toastmaster Sudha, 1 minute 52 seconds. She is eligible for voting. Toastmaster Sumit Gupta took 1 minute 50 seconds, and he is eligible for badges. Toastmaster Ritik took 1 minute 8 seconds, and he is also eligible for badges. Toastmaster Anurag took 2 minutes 19 seconds, and Toastmaster Nivedita took 1 minute 24 seconds. Both are eligible for badges. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster John.
Thank you so much for that elaborate report, Toastmaster Sachin. Now, back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Anurag.
Thank you, Toastmaster, Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Joy. That was indeed a wonderful session. I mean, I really liked it, and that's why I participated also. It was a good topic and questions. Great. Okay. The time after festivals becomes an introspection time for all of us. Self-evaluation and assessment is a major part of our lives as believers. The wallet, the credit card bills, and the waistline. Joy also mentioned that eats a lot in the festivals. Give you a good feedback on how well we all behave during the festival time. The same way, it is time for us to get a rebound on how we all have performed. Like they say, feedback is the breakfast of the champion. Let us move ahead to the last segment of the meeting, which is general evaluation session. This segment will be led by our general evaluator. Let's welcome Toastmaster Babu to conduct this session, which will be an evaluation of prepared speeches and also an overall general evaluation of the whole meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster Babu.
Good morning, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, and of course, a very warm welcome to our area director, Madam Toastmaster Pooja Deya. Let's give her a huge round of applause for having consented to be here this Sunday morning. Next up, of course, I would like to wish all the teachers here, present, past, school, college, mentors, guides, what have you, a very, very happy Teachers' Day. And also, special greetings to teacher Sudha Warrior, if I can call her that, on her birthday today. I'm sure we've given her a round of applause. Let us once again wish her on this, I'm sure, a wonderful occasion for her and her family and for all of us.
Thank you. I don't like the title. That's my only objection. Teacher Sudha Warrior. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, mentor Sudha, fine. If it makes you happy. Okay, so without further ado, let us get on with our evaluation session for this morning. And for that, we have two evaluators, speech evaluators, who will give their feedback on the two speeches that we've had this morning. First up is the evaluation for Toastmaster Deep Shah, and this will be done by veteran Toastmaster Nivedita Parulekar. Over to you, Nivedita.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for the great speech, Deep, and giving us a amazing information on the dynamic leadership and the statistics. So to start with, what did you do really well? You started with a question that helped me to connect with you, and then you have a really whole loads of statistics right from Statista, and then you came on to give the examples of startups. You explained the features, benefits of starters, and then you said there are 13 Indians who have reached to that unicorn status. That was the great point, or that was the inspiring story. But what I loved most from your speech is what you want to drive a message, that take-home message for all the Toastmasters from that example of startup, to be your own startup or be your own leader, and just bring 2-3 new members. That was I think the peak of your entire story. So with that, you have achieved the objective of doing the research and coming to this, giving your speech. What can you do to do this very good speech a better speech? As your title goes as a dynamic leadership, and I could sense, or I could hear, our entire speech is on the startups. I was looking at a dynamic leadership from the olden days, like Ratan Tata, to the newer teams, newer one, to the other Poonawallas or Goyals or Bansals of Indian industry, and how really, what are their values, what are their one key core thing which you liked it and which you want to share about it, and that is what the dynamic leadership is all about. This is what I feel could have been a value add to your entire speech as far as content is concerned. Coming to the overall delivery, you you talked about in a very it's an informative speech. So you went ahead with that. Your tone was right. You were absolutely on the bank, spot on. But when you are asking a question, take a pause. Just look at it, how people are responding, whether they want to answer. So if you don't want them to answer, then don't ask the question. Okay, and then have that variation. 13 Indians have reached that unicorn status. It's like yesterday, the way Rohit Sharma made a century, that was the thing. So, but all in all, you have really done well. Just add that example of leadership to justify your title. Rest, everything is okay. All the best for your future speeches. Over to you. Over to you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Babu.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Nivedita, for a very useful evaluation. I'm sure Deep has found a lot of ideas from that. And now let us go on to our second speech evaluation. And for this, we have what is termed as a new terminology called guest Toastmaster. This is what I've been seeing in some of the sessions. So I'll also use that terminology and wish our guest Toastmaster good morning and welcome him to this speech evaluation. Over to you, Toastmaster Sai.
Thank you, Toastmaster Babu. And may I ask the Zoom master to also please spotlight my target speaker, Toastmaster Sudha. Thank you very much. Toastmaster Sudha, you've done a fantastic job in giving your speech. You've taught us the various styles of communication. There's aggressive, passive aggressive. I don't know much about speaking, but I was being passive because I was some learning about speaking was forced on my throat. There's passive styles of speaking. It is manipulative. Sudha, is this the best you can do? Is this the best you could do with your speech giving? But yes, you did a great job with everything. Your teaching heritage, the history of your interest in teaching, all the work you've done in the past and the work you're planning to do in the future came to the fore in the context of this speech that you gave us. You made us learn, you educated us. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. Your delivery was great. You spoke clearly. There was interest from your facial expressions were involved. You engaged with us, and it made a very wonderful and interesting speech for me to digest. But all good things come to an end. And one of the good things of this evaluation is all the positive stuff that I want to tell you about. But I do want to include one little quote that whenever somebody talks about communication, I'm reminded of an Oscar Wilde quote, which I want to share with you, which I think you'll take use from later on. Oscar Wilde says that I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word I'm saying. And please keep this quote in your head because I'm going to continue with my evaluation now. Now, what your project objective was to explain or understand for yourself the different types of communication that people use. And you did that really well. You spoke about aggressive, passive-aggressive, passive, and manipulative. You spoke about those things and you did exactly what your your project objectives were. You understood what is asked of you, and you understood what different styles people use. Great. And you talked to us about that. But your speech objective was to talk to us about how you specifically, which communication style you use and how it impacts a single person. And I would have picked Arjun because that's a person who has no choice but to listen to you. I would have picked a way to say, my communication style with Arjun is I don't know what communication style you use. Manipulative. Arjun, is this the cleanest your room can be? I would have started with that, and I would have gone further and further into explaining how your communication style with your son has evolved over time. Initially, you must have been letting him learn and make his mistakes, and over time, you sort of tightened the reins a little and said, no, I think time for making small mistakes is over. And you have to make big mistakes if you want to make mistakes. So that's what I would have done, and that's one place where I thought your speech sort of missed the mark when it came to your speech objectives, because I didn't get to learn much about what you employ in your day-to-day life. And as a communicator, that will be something, as a communicator and a coach that you want to be, that will be critical for you to realize that, yes, there are these broad buckets of communication. My style is this, and how it impacts a person on a day-to-day basis is what you have to be cognizant of. And you'll probably be using it for your career, for your future career. which brings us back to the Oscar Wilde quote. Sometimes you might not realize that you're not really, you're not introspecting enough to know what you're doing when you're communicating. And that's what this project asked you to do, to introspect on your communication styles. So there's one little piece of growth that you would need to probably implement. And I am already in red. I didn't even realize, yes, Madam Sudha, all the best for your future speeches. I think you were great. And I'm back to you, Toastmaster Babu, but I have a complaint that this traffic light thing is hard to notice. The spotlight. I didn't even realize I was in red. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Toastmaster Sai, for that. I do not know whether I should term it as aggressive, passive-aggressive, manipulative evaluation, but since I don't want to enter uncharted territory, I will only say that it was a constructive evaluation for Toastmaster Sudha. Well done, Toastmaster Sai. And now I would like to call on the timer, Toastmaster Sachin, to give us the timing reports for the two evaluators. Toastmaster Sachin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Babu, sir. So our two evaluator speakers, the first one, Toastmaster Nivedita, 3 minutes, 37 seconds. 7 seconds is for the allotted time slot. Second evaluator, Toastmaster Sai, 3 minutes, 54 seconds. So around 14 seconds over the allotted grace period.
Toastmaster Babu, I appeal to your good judgment. Both of us have shot over, so we don't get a chance to participate in the contest.
Two wrongs make a right, is it?
Yes, yes. Thanks, Toastmaster Sachin, first of all. Yes, I was just thinking about it. If both of you commit a fault at the start of the race, then maybe the race starts all over again and you might just win. So yes, I think we will go with that and vote for both the speech evaluators as if they have qualified. So please go ahead with your voting. Okay, and while that is being done, I would like to go on with the general evaluation and call upon the two other members of the trio, the grammarian and the R counter, for their reports. First up, grammarian, Toastmaster Ritik, to present his report of the morning. Over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator Babu Narayan. So first of all, I would like to name the good uses of language. So one Toastmasters used the fact and numbers. Was that great? And then also like one Toastmaster used a quote that is the communication works for them who works at it. And also like one more quote was there that was good communication require high level of awareness, and that was really great. And now I want to name the not so good language uses. So the first one is one Toastmaster said the vendors of Zomato the vendors of Zomato have multiplied. He said something as has multiplied, but there should be have. So the vendors of Zomato have multiplied, so that should be there as compared to has. And the word of the day was used by a lot of Toastmasters, so I want to name them. So the first was Evaluator Sai, and Toastmaster Sudha, and Toastmasters Joy. Thank you, General Evaluator Babu Narayan. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ritik, for that exhaustive report. And now let us go on for the R counters report. And it will be by another first timer. I didn't mention, yes, all are first timers. So another first timer for the R counter report, and that will be Engelbert Gonzalez. Over to you, Engelbert.
Thanks, General Evaluator Babu sir. I think this is one of the most toughest thing to find faults in others when myself are filled with R's and pauses. So, but still I'll try my best. So with the Toastmaster of the day, it was very difficult to track, but anyhow, I tried to manage to spot around 5. In terms of Deep and Sudha, I just could not find any fillers, or I could not find any pauses or any R's. So I will directly jump to the speech evaluator one, that is Nivedita. Here I found more than five. Especially I found a little more on sounds, filler sounds and pauses. So these are the two learnings. Then Sai, the second speech evaluator, yeah, I found nearly five fillers and especially the sounds. For timer Sachin, it was around three fillers, especially the sounds. And the grammarian, it was a little bit more than five. Especially it was about R and the sounds. Yeah. Yeah. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Engelbert. You did quite well, pretty well for a first timer's report. Now let us go on. I can use some R's now that you've finished your report very safely. So now let us go on with the general evaluation. Did I miss out any role player? No, I think not. Okay, so a little bit of my own gyan, if I may say, for the morning of what I observed, the good and the bad. And let me begin with the fact that, yes, we did have a technical glitch to start with, but I will not delve into that. We'll keep that for the XCOM because they also need something to discuss. So let's keep that topic for the XCOM to mull over it. But that apart, I think today we've had the usual flawless, seamless, fabulous, meticulous, call it whatever you want. Wonderful session of Mumbai speakers once again. Let us put our hands together for the entire team which has put up such a great show. Of course, as they say, it's the team which works together which gives these results. But then there is always, like I say, a spinal cord to the body of the session, no pun intended. And today, the spinal cord has been in ample display in the form of our very first Toastmaster of the day, Anurag Som. I think he really deserves a huge round of applause. You can even put your audios on and give him a wonderful, thunderous round of applause.
Should we also stand up?
Ending ovation.
Maybe, yeah, you can, but maybe that's a new tradition, which, yes, why not? Yeah.
There will be a lot of firsts, so we'll have to stand up for a lot. It's a good exercise. Sai, we won't do the burpees, but we'll do the standing up and sitting down.
The only feedback I might get at the end of the session is that please let us know in advance if we are to stand up. So, anyways, that's nice. Wonderful to see so many first timers, and I think that's been great for us. So let me move on to the various other elements of today's session. For a change, we had a switch of roles. We always have a smiling Walter who comes forward to start off the proceedings. And for a change, we had a very smiling President, Glenn Smith, who gave a wonderful start to the session. And he's played two roles today. I think that needs to be acknowledged by all of us, the Sergeant at Arms and the Zoom Master. And I think he was spot on, immaculate as usual in his stentorian voice, if I may call it, reading out all the protocols. Well done, Glenn. That was excellent. And then, of course, we had our VP Education who stepped in as the presiding officer. And if I hadn't been told that she's not the regular presiding officer, I would have been surprised. Well, that was a wonderful presiding officer's address. And the best part of it was, of course, the inspiring story that you gave us about Leh and the message. So I think it was, in short, a mini speech by itself, which I definitely enjoyed. And then, of course, you did the protocol pretty well of calling the guests, though, of course, there were nobody responded, unfortunately, today. But yes, and you made a mention of the fact that there were many first timers who would be taking up the roles. So that was like an inspiring start or an encouraging start to all the role players. And you then concluded with the introduction to the Toastmaster of the day. Now, as we have said, this is the first time that Toastmaster Anurag has taken up this role, and boy, you really did a great job today, Toastmaster of the day. First up, you had a wonderful theme on the festivals, which was much in line with the fact that we've got a festival around the corner. And you took a lot of pain. I'm sure you've done a lot of research into all the festivals. And I'm sure some of the festivals were an eye-opener for you, perhaps because of the fact that you played the Toastmaster of the day today. Sometimes we do end up doing research, which we might not have done before. But you covered almost all the festivals of India in that very short span. Wonderfully done. And then we were on to our two speeches of the morning, two Toastmasters who have been making waves in the Toastmaster circuit in different ways. More recently, of course, at the contests, and they've been doing their clubs proud. Two wonderful topics as well. One, of course, on startups, which I would say is the flavor of the business today. I don't think any day passes without us hearing about a startup that has been started. And of course, the other one on communication, which is again very dear to all of us in Toastmasters. So two wonderful speeches in the morning delivered by two veteran Toastmasters. And of course, to complement that very well, we had two brilliant evaluations, again by two veteran Toastmasters using the sandwich approach. And I think evaluations were spot on. So let us give them a huge round of applause as well. We then moved on to the table topic session, and I don't need to mention this, but Joy, you always, for those who don't know him so well, he's always a joy to watch, a joy to hear. And that is what he infused in today's table topic session. Wonderfully done, Joy. And what I really liked is your opening, where you paid a tribute to the to Dr. Radhakrishnan, in whose name or in whose memory the entire Teachers' Day. Sometimes we tend to forget the reasons for which we are celebrating something, and you made it a point to remind us. So that was wonderfully done. Lovely topics, keeping in line with your theme of Teachers' Day. And the only point that I thought you might wish to look into is that when you read out the topic, let it be in the regular style where you call out the speaker, read out the topic, read the topic once again, and the second time a little slowly, and then call out the name again. Because what happens is when you call out the name, then everyone else shuts off. So let the topic sink into the others as well. So we can also do our own table topics when the session is going on. The one other point which you need to take note of is, I think you got a little carried away with your own small stories in between, or your own takes. And that is at the cost of time. So you will need to be very careful and make sure that you are within your allotted time. But definitely wonderful topics in line with the flavor of the day. And of course, after that, it was to me. And the only few small things that I would like to mention here is that, of course, our attendance is about what 14 today, and we had no guests. So that would be an area which we would like to look into as to, okay, maybe it was because of the festive season. I'm just giving a few excuses for that. Festive season, morning meetings and all that, but probably a point to be looked into by our XCOM and see what is the reason. Technical glitch, of course, as I said, I will not talk about it much. Yes, I had something on the word of the day. In fact, I couldn't use it. I was desperately trying to, in fact, all I could think of is, oh God. And I realized that it could fit into anywhere in my lines. So my only suggestion here is that if the word of the day can be a little simpler and more amenable to use in our speeches, because for this, you really have to look out for maybe the Queen's wardrobe or somewhere to use it. I don't know. I just couldn't use it. So let's make it a little simpler, easier to use, and which can be incorporated into our vocabulary. And in that, I forgot to make one remark about joy. I was quite distracted by the blackboard or the green board behind him, which says, "Thank you, teacher." I forgot to mention about it. So that's just on the aside. But anyway, on the what was it about? Yeah, the other point was while all the reports were well done, the timer, account, and the grammarian, I thought probably the timer's report was a little too lengthy right at the beginning. So maybe we need to make it a little more crisp, because sometimes if we go on, there are ways of making the same point more effective. So just look into your scripts and see if you can wrap it up in about a couple of minutes, each of at least your initial presentations, so that we are still within the time limit. But I think overall it was really wonderfully done, and of course we've had the pleasure of having our area director, and I'm sure that she's going to give us a wonderful report at the end of the session. And how do you want me? I think I will pass it over to the Toastmaster of the day once again for him to probably ask the area director to say a few words. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Anurag.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Babu. Now we have come almost to the end of the meeting. I hope you all have enjoyed the journey of visualizing the festivities in your mind with the theme of the meeting. Only human beings celebrate festivals. It's a trait of evolution, bringing human lives together to celebrate life and resolve all differences. Each year, each city in the world that can and should have a multi-day festival. More people meeting each other, digging new types of music, new foods, new ideas. Do you want to stop having so many wars? Then this could be a step in the right direction. And yes, I feel the festivals are like a map charting our spiritual progress. It's the time when everyone cleans their homes and minds and welcomes goodness and celebrations. Retail therapy also happens, which is also a reason to shop, and all kinds of sales and promotions are there to grab. Bless is the season which engages the whole of India in a conspiracy of love. I enjoyed being your Toastmaster of the day, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to spend this Sunday morning with all of you to share my thoughts on this lovely topic. Before I hand over the stage to presiding officer, I'm leaving with this lovely thought. Live every day as if it is a festival. Turn your life into a celebration. Over to you, Mr. Presiding Officer, Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. I think you have crossed all limits in terms of being the first time TMOD. I'm superbly surprised and so delighted that you've made this choice and taken up the role, and you've done wonderfully as well. Thank you so much. Great. So that kind of finishes the Toastmaster meeting. And we have one more important agenda to be completed, which is the installation of new members, which will be taken over by our inducting officer, Toastmaster Deep, who's multi-hatting as well today. And apart from that, we definitely looking forward to hear some thoughts from our area director, Pooja, as well. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Deep. And just for your information, we have the links for the voting, which is there in the chat box. Please keep updating it so that by the end of the session, we'll have that also ready. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster Deep.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sada. Am I clearly audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, it is our duty and our privilege to induct 5 new members to the Mumbai Speakers Toastmasters Club. Can we have a thunderous round of applause for all of us to make this possible?
Ooh, 5 members, great.
Great show.
Thank you. These individuals have come to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication and leadership skills. And we now have the opportunity to help them to learn and grow. I will now call our new members forward and ask me to join me at the virtual stage. I will spotlight each one of them. Toastmaster Usha. Toastmaster Sumit. Toastmaster Sachin. Toastmaster Ritik. Unfortunately, the 5th member, Toastmaster Vishal Shah, could not join us today. So we will have to induct him in a future session. May I please request all the new members to raise their right hand.
Sorry, 1 minute. Deep, Toastmaster Engelbert also.
Okay, yeah, my apologies. And Toastmaster Engelbert. May I please request all the new members to raise their right hand with their palm facing the screen. You are joining a worldwide organization that has helped more than 4 million people to learn to communicate more effectively. As a member of the Mumbai Speakers Toastmasters Club, you will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You will become a part of an outstanding group of people who are dedicated to help one another. Madam Vice President Education, have these new members given an opportunity to discuss their needs and goals with the club? Have they been told how the Toastmasters program works? And have they been informed of the many benefits that they will receive as well as the obligations of the membership?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, I would like to ask these members for an oath. In the presence of the fellow Toastmasters of the Mumbai Speakers Toastmasters Club, do you make this firm obligation, 1, to attend meetings regularly, to prepare fully for each assignment, to apply yourself to the projects outlined in the Toastmasters education program, to participate actively in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive and constructive manner, to build open and friendly relationships with the fellow members, and to bring new members into the club so they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters. You can repeat by saying, yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much. Now I would request all the members of Mumbai Speakers Toastmasters Club to raise your right hand and take the oath. We, the members of Mumbai Speakers Toastmasters Club, pledge to support all our new members in their quest for your self-development, to provide you with a positive, helpful evaluation, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, to give you opportunities to help others, and to make your Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Thank you so much.
Yes, we
May I
do.
please request?
Yes, we do.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to give it back to our presiding officer for the day, Toastmaster Sudha, to continue with the meeting proceedings.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deep, and hearty congratulations to all the new members to be inducted onto the Toastmasters journey, and wish you all the best, and take up roles, take up speeches, and sky is the limit. Good luck to all of you. Now I would like to hand over the virtual stage to Area Director Pooja to share some thoughts with us. Thank you.
A very good afternoon and happy Sunday to each one of you. I'm indeed delighted to be here this morning. It's been a while I was trying to be a part of this meeting, but I'm glad today, being a different day, I am here and I couldn't miss this opportunity on this special occasion. As a Teacher's Day, which is quite close to me for a reason I'll mention, and also when it's our dear Toastmaster Sudha's birthday. So happy birthday, Sudha. So it's a Sunday morning. Second, being Teacher's Day. Third, knowing Sudha since a while and she being close to being a teacher as well. I think all in all, it has made my day today.
Yeah.
So I would say something about what Teacher's Day means to me. So if you guys might know, I am a part of JP Morgan today, and it's been around 10 plus years. I am a part of corporate world. But before joining corporate world, I was a part of coaching industry. While pursuing my graduation, I used to teach higher secondary students. And teaching has always been, teaching and coaching has always been quite close to my heart. And that's where I think I now connect a little more to Toastmasters Sudha for our different reasons as well. So talking about today's meeting, the theme, I would say I am truly surprised seeing the role players doing the roles for the very first time. It didn't made me feel that it was actually first time unless it was mentioned. So I am delighted, and when I saw new role players, rather new members induction happening, and we already have people doing the roles here. So it's kind of a passion that you have within yourselves, and I would definitely say rather we should pat ourselves to have new members reaching to this stage already at the pace we have, and it's the members around who motivate them to take up the roles as well. So I would say I just can't go. I just can't stop talking about the meeting. It's actually made my day, and I look forward to be a part of this meeting quite more often. So thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Sudha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja. I think we are really looking forward to having you being a part of our sessions as evaluator, or maybe even as speaker, different roles. We are looking forward to that. We have the results in already. Pooja, can I request you to probably announce it and give it to the winners since you're here? Yeah.
Yeah, I would be glad to do that.
I'm just sharing you the details on your chat, if that's okay. Or should I?
Sure.
Deep, can you do that? Or you want me to do it?
Oh, sure, I'll do that. Did you receive it? Toastmaster Sudha?
I did. Cool. So I think it's time to identify how are we doing and how well we can do. So before I go ahead, I think each one of you has already achieved a milestone here by doing something for the very first time that you are doing. So kudos to each one of you, all the role players, speaker as well, as you are up a ladder on your journey. So if we just check out the winners, we have an award for the best big three, and today's award for the best big three goes to, any guesses?
Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, is it Toastmaster of the day?
I wish it could have been him, but definitely a pat to him for doing a role really great, being it for the very first time. And it's just the votes and the numbers I feel that gets us here. So the today's award goes to none other than Toastmaster Joy for having a great table topic session today and getting us the joy here. The next up we have is the best speaker. Indeed, we had a lot of takeaways from both the speakers, but as per the votes, the best speaker awards goes to Toastmaster Deep. A big round of applause for Toastmaster Deep and Toastmaster Sudha as well for coming up a ladder. The next we have is best table topic speaker. Any guesses for the table topic speaker winner?
Toastmaster Sai.
Yeah. Toastmaster Sudha.
I think a couple of you are already right. It's Toastmaster Sudha who won the trophy. So congratulations, Toastmaster Sudha. You taking up something on your special day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next we have is best evaluator. And the best evaluator award goes to Toastmaster Sai. So congratulations, Toastmaster Sai, for being here and for taking up the trophy as well.
Thank you very much. Toastmaster Sudha made my life easier with her speech.
The next we have is Best Aux Award, Best Auxiliary Role, I believe. And that goes to Toastmaster Sachin. So a big round of applause for Toastmaster Sachin. And kudos to you, Sachin, for being a new member as well as taking up a role and coming up with innovative background. The last, I think, yeah, that's it. So I think I can hand it over back to Toastmaster Sudha. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So there comes the end of a beautiful meeting, a confluence of thoughts, different celebrations, different emotions, different beginnings. And I don't want to spend too much time elaborating on what we experienced. I'm sure we have taken away a lot of things from this meeting. First of all, lastly, I would like to wish all the first timers for taking their roles so beautifully, and they have done such a great job. Like I felt what Pooja said, it didn't seem like y'all were doing it for the first time. And what goes more deeper is that you guys didn't just read the script, y'all had something more to add to the role, which is what makes the difference and the journey a very special one. So with that, may I call upon the meeting to be closed for today, unless there are some questions or there are some guests. I don't think there are guests again. So we shall call the meeting closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, can we all unmute ourselves and sing the happy birthday song for Toastmaster Sudha?
Oh, come on, Deep. Don't embarrass me, please.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to
Happy birthday, dear Sudha.
Happy
birthday
to
you.
Thank
you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Happy
Sudha,
16th.
Sudha, you
Can
can
we
send
have-
the cake whenever you can. I mean, we are in no rush.
You know, there are virtual cakes which are available. You know, there are virtual cakes available that goes along with Zoom also. Maybe you want me to add it up.
We'll eat everything virtually, Sudha. Very, very nice. We'll eat virtually.
अरे बोलो यार घर आ जाओ तुम लोग सब लोग आज. No problem. You all can join the party.
Happy birthday.
Oh my God! Who's this darling? What's the name? What's the name?
Sinead.
Tine.
What is it? Sorry?
Tine.
Tine. You look
Tine.
so cute. Thank you so much. I love your ribbons.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Glenn, I think you should
Youngest
put her
Toastmaster.
as a WhatsApp profile. She's such a delight, man. What's the name actually? Tinai.
Sinead.
Sinead. Okay, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Great, guys. Thank you so much. Anurag, how are you feeling, man, after the TMOD session? Relieved?
Good. But thank you
No,
so
he's
much,
feeling
Sudha.
confident now after that.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, you get the monkey off your back.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
happens. Yeah, now, haha.
No, I really want to thank Sudha for giving me the opportunity and training me. I'm getting free, life coach, mentorship. I'm like privileged without paying anything. I'm getting this.
No, you don't need to pay at Toastmasters. That comes in the package. Don't worry.
To you.
You just,
Because you
you
pushed me,
just,
so I taken up this role.
No worries, no worries. And Usha ma'am, we are looking forward to you taking up some roles next meeting very soon.
Yeah, I will definitely do that, Sudha. Today, I just didn't want to miss the session, but I was just like you talked about styles of communication. I was in types of listening. So I just attended the first session and then I just had to take care of my mother. She kind of slipped yesterday and fell down.
Oh
So
my
she-
God, okay.
She has to be taken care of. So I was in an intermediate listening stage, and so did not pay much attention to the table topics. Deep, I would look forward to the links, but as usual, I enjoyed the session today. It was very
Thank
good.
you so
Yes,
much.
I will definitely take some more. I mean, the oath was too long. 7 points. I was just counting. What
Yeah,
are
yeah,
we
yeah,
need to
yeah.
do?
I
And
know,
so
I
I
know.
did not want to miss the very first day. I'll definitely take up. Thank you so much.
Can we
Pooja,
have
you're
Pooja
part of
ma'am?
JPMC, is it?
Pardon?
Are you part of JPMC?
You're asking me,
Yeah,
Babu
yeah,
sir?
Pooja.
No. I'm not part of GPM.
He's not. Engelbert, what about
No,
you?
I asked
Yeah.
Pooja.
Pooja ma'am.
Pooja, okay.
Right. I'm part of JPMC, Babu sir, you're right.
Okay.
So I was part of JPMC Powai Club before. My process was in Powai when I joined Toastmasters, and then I moved to Malad Club now as my process
Okay.
has moved to Malad.
Great.
Great.
You had your contest yesterday, right? When was that?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Great. Engelbert, I want to hear from you. What are you feeling? He has been a guest of Mumbai speakers for some time, but I'm so happy he started taking roles and he's now inducted. So what is your take today? How do you feel?
Actually, though I had been part of 1 or 2 meetings earlier, but to be honest, this was my actual meeting where from start to end I was, concentrating and, focusing. So it was very nice because definitely it is very nice. So I'm looking forward for even more. And especially like Deep and you, ma'am,
Now-
you have given a lot of,
Yeah.
Now we are all
Yeah, a lot of,
eagerly waiting for
tips
your
and
icebreakers.
We are looking forward to that as well. Sumit, we want you also to take up a role next time for sure. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. I will take a role.
And Sachin and Ritik, y'all were just marvelous. I think y'all were.
Even Engelbert.
Engelbert,
Superb.
of course, I that goes without saying. I'm looking at him to get a speech slot now next time. He was put on the spot with Choice telling him to do table topics for the first time, but I think you did pretty well, man. Yeah. Great. Anything else? We can drop off otherwise.
So who's giving the icebreaker next time?
Engelbert.
And I think we need at least 2 icebreakers.
Have mercy on me for next week.
No, I'm planning to have an icebreaker marathon, so that all the newcomers can just finish off their first level of speeches. So that way, you know, all of them. Yeah, Babu sir.
We will call it a Titanic session if you're going to have so many icebreakers.
Oh my God, this is hangover. This is hangover of a humorous contest.
Yes,
By
yes.
the way,
The flavor of the season is a humorous speech contest. So you got to put up with this for some more time.
agonies of a Toastmaster. By the way, that was his title. That was his title. That's why I'm just talking. His title of the speech was Agonies of a Toastmaster.
We had a humorous speech yesterday of Bombay Toastmasters. We are the it's our home club for me and Sudha. So we were both contestants there. Yeah, it was nice. None of you came there, right? Other than, of course, Anurag. I don't see anyone. Deep, you were there, right?
He was there. I had to drop off because I got a call from my grandpa.
Okay. Great.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, for joining us today. Sorry to cut you off, Babu sir.
No problems. Thank you so much for having me here. It was indeed a delight, as I mentioned. Couldn't have been better than what it was. So yeah, look forward to attend more meetings with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can sign off. Thank
Come on,
you.
let's catch up next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank
Have a
you.